to get around to look at it properly, but may God help Kenya. Never again shall we have conflicts associated with elections. God bless Kenya. God bless.
Your Excellency, the President, Your Excellencies, the Deputy President, and the former Prime Minister, let me also recognize in a special way the presence today of our speakers of Parliament, distinguished leaders and Kenyans, because the whole of Kenya is here. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been listening to the cries of Kenyans. We've heard the aspirations of Kenyans and the hopes that Kenyans have. And all these have been contained in this document and indeed in a series of other documents. But the ultimate burden of actualizing that dream and that vision is being placed on the shoulders of 349 members of Parliament in the National Assembly and another 67 in the Senate to deliver. So at this point, may I ask the members of the Senate and the members of the National Assembly who are here today to represent all those who could not, please stand up for recognition by this group of Kenyans. Thank you. The reason I asked them to stand, we have less than 2 years to the next election. So at least their term of office is guaranteed for that period to deliver on a whole myriad of legislation, constitutional amendments, in addition to what is already in the pipeline. They need your prayers. They need your support so that we can concentrate in the House instead of in the constituencies if we have to deliver on this dream for the Kenyan people. We've done it before. In 2010, in August of 2010, that's when the Constitution was promulgated. And between August and March of 2012, I believe we had delivered on about all the legislation that was required to actualize the Constitution. So we can do it. But now, time is different. We are meeting limited because of COVID, but we believe we are up to the task. And I want to assure the Kenyan people, on behalf of these members of Parliament, that what has been placed on our hands, we are equal to the task. And in unity, because on this matter, we don't have a minority side or a majority side. We are united for the people of Kenya. So we want to extend that assurance and to say, with your support as Kenyans, we will not use the youth to fight for us. You saw us dancing on the Jerusalem challenge. united people from all different political parties, factions, affiliations, but we're united to show that when there's a common cause, we can put our political differences aside. And on this matter of actualizing the Kenyan dream, to get the vision of the new Kenya, of shared prosperity with plenty within our borders, I've discussed this with my colleague, the leader of minority, discussed this with our whips, and we've agreed that we're going to marshal everyone together so that we can achieve this dream together. And may God help us on that journey. God bless Kenya. God bless you all.
Asanteni sana mheshimiwa. Tutawaalika sasa wafuatao na niombe kwa heshima sana tena. Vile niliomba, we kindly stick to the 3 minutes. Tutawaalika sasa mheshimiwa Wafula wa Munyinyi, mheshimiwa Isaac Ruto, mheshimiwa anaye represent Gideon Moi, Governor Alfred Mutua, mheshimiwa Moses Wetangula, mheshimiwa Musalia Mudavadi na mheshimiwa Kalonzo Musyoka. Mheshimiwa wa Munyinyi.
Mheshimiwa Rais Uhuru Kenyatta, Mheshimiwa Naibu wa Rais Dr. William Ruto, Mheshimiwa Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Ondinga, all protocol observed, ladies and gentlemen. Leo ni siku kubwa, and for me, first of all, BBI answers the questions regarding the dispute in Fort Kenya. Because BBI is proposing that we must stick to those mechanisms for resolution of disputes. They must be internal, and if you're not satisfied with internal mechanisms, you move to the registrar and the tribunal. In our case, the matter is at the High Court, for no good reasons. Your Excellency, allow me to say, today we restart a journey to accomplish what our forefathers, their dreams by independence heroes. Your Excellency, this country is at crossroads. Those dreams we talk about, the dreams of a united Kenya, the dreams of a peaceful Kenya, the dreams of a secure and stable Kenya. We need to come together in this conversation and deal with these issues so that we all can attain this dream. Your Excellency, Kenya is staring at another ill-tempered electoral process, which would come about with the usual election violence. BBI is providing the answer to end the violence, the political violence in our country. We must pass BBI. We will all recall the committee of experts under the late Zamba Kitonga, and may he rest in peace, had recommended a hybrid system. But when we went to Naivasha, those members of the Parliamentary Select Committee changed from a hybrid system to a presidency without explaining to Kenyans. We need to get back there. There are recommendations here that address that, and BBI is going to deal with all those issues. I am being asked to finalize, but I must restate my happiness with the BBI report and call upon all Kenyans and my colleagues to support the report so that we can reform our country. I thank you.
Mheshimiwa Rais, mabibi na mabwana, all protocols observed. I was given the instructions to be that brief. Now, I am very elated because for once we are standing here today, we are meeting here today to actualize and strengthen devolution. This is one of the greatest moments for the people who have lived in utter deprivation. We can now take the economy to our villages. We can take and grow the Kenyan economy to the farthest corner of this republic. I want to urge all of us to support this process. I have read through this document. It has been about more than 4 days. It's enough to read that document. You don't need a whole month to read this document. I have tried to look for the mischief in any of the amendments, and I have found none. I've gone through the pages. Amendments to the Constitution read side by side with the already existing Constitution. And there is no amendment that has been proposed that will negate the gains Kenyans have gotten over the several years that we've done. They are only gains. We've seen Mama Pendo. This Constitution tells us today, never again shall we be fighting. And I want to laud the two principals who have introduced the concept of handshake. I want us to say it should now be a culture for all those vying office that after the elections, they must have a handshake with their opponents. It is the lack of that that has led Kenyans to shed blood. And every time we fight after the elections, after 3 months, we are able to discuss peace. And even when we embrace peace after the elections, those we have killed will never understand that there is now peace, that they need to wake up. They are very dead. They are away from us. We should never take that route again. Let us take devolution strongly, and let us have an all-inclusive management process for our political affairs in this country. I want to laud the Haji team and say, Pongezi, God bless you. That is a lot of wisdom. I will be on the campaign trail to ensure that this document is passed the soonest possible. And for the constitutional amendments, there is no more debate. Let us just go and pass it. Give us the bill. For the legislative agenda, let us look at it. You can debate it as much as you want. But for these amendments, all is done. We are not going to rewrite that. Thank you and God bless you.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, I'm here to convey the message from KANU on behalf of our chairman, Mheshimiwa Gideon Moi, who could not be here with us, but is here with us in spirit. This is the position of KANU with regards to BBI. On behalf of our national chairman, party leader, the Honorable Gideon Moi, the National Executive Committee, and the entire membership of KANU, I take this opportunity to most sincerely thank His Excellency the President, Uhuru Kenyatta and his handshake partner, the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Ondinga, for their steadfast statesmanship and brotherhood that has enabled us to gather here today for the official launch of the report of the Steering Committee on the implementation of the Building Bridges to a United Kenya. 42 years ago, then newly elected President, His Excellency Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, coined the Nyayo philosophy with the aim of ensuring that our young nation would henceforth be one indivisible nation. Government action for the remainder of his term and under successive administration was and remains centered around the unifying Nyayo philosophy of peace, love, and unity. We are proud for so much achieved in that direction. However, we are brave enough to admit that our country has not been as united as was contemplated by our founding father, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, Daniel Arap Moi Mzee, His Excellency Mwai Kibaki, our current President Uhuru Kenyatta, and the Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Ondinga. Indeed, we have fallen short in a number of ways, but we are convinced that unity should no longer be a persuasive call, but a mandatory call. In this regard, it is our conviction that the call for peace, love, and unity should be entrenched in law. And that is why we are here today firmly supportive of the initiative by President Uhuru Kenyatta and the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Ondinga to transform the call for peace, love, and unity into law. The KANU rank and file proudly associates itself with other constitutional legislative proposals in the BBI draft report, including the aim to uplift the socio-economic lives of our youth, entrenchment of our national ethos, equality, equity, and inclusiveness, strengthening of our devolution, expansion of the structure of government to allow for inclusivity, bringing the gender disparity, among others. We refuse to entertain the shallow argument by those opposed to the reforms that these changes can only be achieved through mere policy and administrative decision. Hence, we fully associate with the President's position that this is a package that should be anchored in the supreme law of the land. KANU national and county leaders are under firm instructions to endorse the BBI document without haste for the good of the current and the future generations. Having read the reports so far, we in KANU have no doubt that BBI agenda is calling upon us Kenyans to embrace ideals that will guarantee for ourselves, the future generation, a united, peaceful, inclusive, equitable, prosperous country devoid of ethnic antagonism and divisive politics. And that is what KANU stands for as a national party. In that regard, I want to reiterate that His Excellency the President said in his recent Mashujaa Day, and I quote, "We are today faced with a constitutional moment, and that moment requires us to seize the opportunity to make right some of the things that we have gotten wrong in the past." Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, fellow Kenyans, this is the moment. Let us seize the opportunity to have a decent and sober conversation around what this document has to offer. Let us be on the right side of history by discussing the document that has been presented to us so that we can make informed choices when called upon to do so. Let us be ambassadors of the truth and knowledge by telling the rest of Kenyans the truth about this document. Thank you. God bless Kenya. Happy birthday, Your Excellency. Thank you.
Your Excellency, the President, Excellency, the Deputy President, former Prime Minister Raila Ondinga, all protocols observed. I have 4 points, and I'll do them in a very chap-chap manner. Number one, congratulations to the team that put this together. The BBI document, we've read it. I like the proposals that are there. We love the fact that devolution will be enhanced. We've done miracle work as governors across the country. Now with more money, we'll be able to help our people develop. The tax relief to young people to enable them to pick up so that they can create employment across our country. The World Development Fund. I'm very happy about the industrialization section and growing the economy, manufacturing, because we want to grow factories in every village in this country, because it's all about money at the end of the day. It's all about money. So as Maendeleo Chap, we're very happy and we support this process of the BBI. Number two, I'd like to tell Kenyans that amendments of the constitutions are okay. There's a lot of propaganda going around. It's acceptable. Even the most powerful democracies, such as the United States, you hear of them talking about the First Amendment, the right to freedom of expression. Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. Fifth Amendment, the right not to self-incriminate. They are called amendments because they were not part of the original Constitution. Constitution making is a process. So it is about getting us together to be able to fix and improve on what we have for the sake of our people. Number three, lazima pia tusome funzo la historia. Mimi nilikuwa msemaji wa serikali mwaka 2005 wakati kulikuwa na ule mvutano wa chungwa na ndizi. Na hapo ndio mambo yalianza kwenda mrama katika nchi yetu ya Kenya. There was a lot of polarization in our country. The winner takes it all process started at that time. Na nchi ilichemka, na mkisoma ile ripoti ya Justice Waki, mtaona ya kwamba ile vurugu tumeipata mwaka 2008 ilianzia 2005. Kwa hivyo mimi naomba hivi kwa nyenyekevu ya kwamba sisi wote kama viongozi katika nchi yetu ndio tusichomane tena kule 2022. Tuangalie hii document, kama kuna vipengele vichache ambavyo vitaki, tuunganishe sisi wote, tusimame pamoja, tuweze kuwa na document ambao viongozi wote wanakubaliana nayo. Kwa sababu tukienda hivi mvutano, watu wameanza kukataa, wengine wanakubali, tutaenda pale pale na mabazuu yako sawa, si watoto wetu ndio wanaumia kule chini. Kwa hivyo tuangalie nchi ambayo inashikana. Na mwisho kabisa, nataka kuwagotea vijana na Wakenya wenzangu popote ulipo. Nataka kuwapatia rada kiasi. Unajua sisi tumechoka nchi ya mabezanga wachache wenye pesa nyingi na mamilioni ambao wamesota. Watu wako na usawa. Nataka kushow birthday boy Unye na Rao ya kwamba na mabazu wengine wako hapo wote, ya kwamba sisi, especially the young people in this country, tunataka Kenya ambayo tunaendelea kuchochwa saa zote. Haswa tunataka Kenya kofea, ndio kijana akiamka asubuhi anadondoka, anajua atapata wera ama atapata do, si kulala njaa kila wakati. Lakini msitupange na mastingo ya kabila, kutupanga ati huyu ndio leader wa kabila hili, leader wa kabila hili, leader wa kabila hili. Mnatupanga na mastingo ya kabila. Mkifanya hivyo sisi tutakataa. Mkipanga tutapangua, mkifunga tutafungua. Kwa sababu sisi tutaka mambo fresh ndio tusonge mbele. Asante. God bless na God bless Kenya.
Your Excellency, President Uhuru Kenyatta, Deputy President, Prime Minister, fellow Kenyans. Today is a day like no other. We assembled here as a leadership of the country to put a final touch to a document of hope, a document of peace, a document of prosperity for our country. We have come a long way as a country. We have gone through challenges, and as a resilient country, we don't give up because we have challenges. We rise like a phoenix out of the ashes to take a new trajectory for our country. The BBI report before us, Your Excellency, is tremendous work in progress, is a good report and must be supported.
For anybody who may wish to have an issue with it, I encourage you, don't say reject, say improve. Because there is room for improvement on each and everything that we have in life. I'm particularly happy, Your Excellency, that for the first time we have put our commitment to the integration of the region in our constitution. Kenya stands to gain tremendously by continuing to be the major player in the economy of the East African region and beyond. Equally important, Your Excellency, is the centrality of devolution in this document. Today, as we speak, Your Excellency, Nigeria has emerged as the largest economy on the continent because of embracing devolution and taking more money to devolve the units and to the villages. By taking 35% of our revenue to the villages, to the counties, we are going to witness a revolution in the economy of this country like never before. And this is going to change the narrative, the psyche, and above all, the manner in which Kenyans engage with each other. When there is plenty in our midst, room for conflicts diminish. When there is less in our midst, everybody struggles for the little that there is. I want to encourage Kenyans, read the document, understand the document, and like we were told from Kisii, nothing is cast in stone. A good idea will always give way to a better idea. And I have no doubt, Your Excellency, that this is your signature legacy to this country. I want to finish by saluting our retired President Mwai Kibaki. He, after the 2007-2008 conflicts, navigated and midwifed the birth of the 2010 Constitution. And that's why we're here to look at that Constitution and make it even better. You said, Your Excellency, in Kisii,
The original.
that in 1963, we had a Constitution that was a ceasefire document. In 2010, we had a Constitution that was a stopgap document. Now we are going to have the ultimate document, the Constitution that will lead this country for generations to come. And fellow Kenyans, don't let anybody read for you. Read yourself, understand, and if you have any new idea, we want our country to move together as one big happy family called Kenya. God bless us all.
Your Excellency, the President, Uhuru Kenyatta, the Deputy President, William Ruto, Honorable Honorable Raila Ondinga, fellow Kenyans, I will be brief, and I want to say that the issues that the BBI sought to resolve are real issues, issues that seriously affect us, and if we do nothing about them, will continue to affect us. I have read the document, and I also had an opportunity to consult with the ANC party leadership, critical organs of the party. We had a robust debate, and we came to the general conclusion that the document has very good provisions. Provisions that need to be enhanced provisions that need to be enacted carefully and as soon as possible so that we can engage on nation building. Your Excellency, there are some areas, and I want to highlight just one or two, because my understanding is that the launch is giving us an opportunity to reflect on these issues and then to enrich them so that the same task force that was handling it can take into account issues that may not have been captured appropriately. Indeed, a number of speakers have indicated there may be a few areas that require refining. Your Excellency, I think the strength of the Senate needs to be relooked at again. When it comes to matters devolution, after reading it, I think the articles that have been touched tend to remove or to downgrade the role of Senate when it comes to allocation of resources to the counties. Senate is the anchor to devolution. I think that requires a review, not a rejection of the document, but a review. Your Excellency, the judiciary is independent. There's a very good provision recommending the appointment of the ombudsman to handle the issues of the judiciary. I think that is good. However, I strongly believe that in order to enhance the independence of the judiciary, that appointment should be made by the Chief Justice. Your Excellency, I'm making these points so that they can be looked at. The other point that I would like to make is the issue of underpinning the economy. Your Excellency, you and I have the unique commonality of having served as ministers of finance. This is an area you understand very well. I strongly recommend that in the document, and as we look at it, because I believe there's a window, we can underpin the need to tame our public debt. Your Excellency, this is important because the good provisions of increasing 15% to 35% will require resources. If the debt consumes too much of our resources, we shall again fail to serve the counties. That is critical. Finally, Your Excellency, I just wish to say that you have a mammoth task, we have a mammoth task. The 2010 Constitution, when it got to the referendum, it had a 67% acceptance across the country. That was the referendum statistics. I want to beseech Kenyans that let us work together. Let us look at this document together so that when we get to the level of the referendum, we should only better that percentage of 67% to higher. That will be so good because it will then be building the consensus we want for the Constitution. Your Excellency, the Constitution is not like the 10 Commandments. We cannot amend the 10 Commandments, but we can amend the Constitution. We can also improve the gray areas around the BBI so that that high percentage comes on board. And it is on this basis that I revisit the Kisii address by His Excellency the President, that we must build consensus. He emphasized that in his speech, so that by the time we are reaching the plebiscite we shall have developed very broad consensus. Kenya is ours. We must all protect it. This initiative is excellent. It is not work that can be taken lightly. So we support it. We'll work to support it, and we'll work to improve it. God bless all Kenyans, and God bless the souls of all those who have sacrificed or have lost their lives in the quest for a better Kenya. Thank you so much.
Mheshimiwa Rais, fellow Kenyans, I join others in wishing you a very happy birthday. And I want to take it up from where my friend Bishop Ogide left it. He once got me into a lot of trouble when I attended his inauguration as a Bishop of Sitam. He did refer to Psalms 133, I beg your pardon. It's just three stanzas, 3 verses. And it's actually a song by David. Jehovah, just a minute. This song by David starts by saying, "Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious oil upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard, that came down upon the skirt of his garments, like the dew of Hermon that cometh down upon the mountains of Zion. For there Jehovah commanded the blessing, even life evermore." I think this is a moment for us Kenyans to reflect on this. And Mr. President, for once, I think we have a God-given opportunity, even as we prepare to take this country to a referendum, to have a non-contested referendum. Those are precisely the words that I used when I attended the inauguration of Bishop Ogide. When I said that time, let us listen to what the church is saying so that we can build the consensus. I have read and I have traveled, and the most recent interesting reading I've come across is that of some of us who think that this is another trick. As my brother Chamasha Mashinani said, he did not find any mischief in this document. But there are those who are reading mischief. Unfortunately, let us also bring them on board. For instance, they think that this whole thing is aimed at creating and expanding the structure of the executive to the detriment of everything else. But you have heard here the Kenyans in a celebratory mood because devolution is the biggest gainer of this whole thing. 35% to the counties. Recently, Your Excellency, you recall the very tough discussion in the Senate when senators could not even agree on the formula. Now everything looks straight. And I want to urge here that we get into this norm of believing that every Kenyan is important. Every Kenyan. Those on 4-wheel cars and those even on one wheel. Every Kenyan matters. Every Kenyan matters. And therefore nobody should read mischief where there is none. Governors, when you get this money, I plead for the love of this country. Please let us adhere to the provisions of Chapter 6 of the Constitution. I know that there are ward representatives who may not agree with some of the governors, and then they have been denied development assistance. Now, it was Wiper Democratic Movement's position that this 2%, that Ward Development Fund be included as a constitutional amendment. And this we're very proud of as WIPA because it was listened, we are listened to, we are listed in that document as one of the parties that made this presentation. Because we believe in devolution. Let us deepen it and of course avoid the stealing. What one ambassador once said, Kenyans, we steal and we vomit on their shoes. We have an opportunity to grow our own economy and not vomit on each other, but grow this economy. Mr. President, I want to be very brief today. And I say that we have read this document. We cannot be in a reading mood all the time. It's not a very big document. We have read it. What happens next, in my view, Mr. President, is that the bills that have already been drafted, and there are several of them drafted, let then the whole concept, which is enshrined in Constitution 2010, take root. Participation, public participation with regard to each of those bills that has been drafted subsequent upon this report. So the report then can have some hands and feet to stand on. And the country then can prepare for the next very important thing. So we have read, let us not kid ourselves. People cannot read forever. It has been read, and I think it is a time to move on and support this change, which is important. And while you are doing it, avoid radicalizing this country. You see, there are very many types of terrorism. If you start a class war, what are you doing to your own country in the name of wanting to get elected? This is not good. I've just come, Your Excellency, from a visit to Mount Kenya region, and beautiful Thompson Falls, compared to the famous Bombers of Kenya thing. It's amazing. Beautiful territory, beautiful country. But then we radicalize the youth, so they look at you. A youth looked at me and said, Kalonzo, we welcome you. Karibu sana. At least somebody has brought us a wheelbarrow. What have you brought us? Even I'm saying the wheelbarrows are important to this country. It is important. Therefore, let us embrace this possibility, God-given opportunity to have a non-contested referendum so that there will be no wheelbarrows and there will be no other types of Kenyans. Class war, dangerous. Finally, Mr. President, a learned junior whom I celebrate put you into a very tricky situation. And even as we think of Ogid appealing to my brother Raila to stop the reggae and William to stop the wheelbarrow story, I love this Jerusalem song, that dance. But then, Mugithi may even be better, so that we all follow in a Kenyan song where we come together. Don't fall into the trap, Mr. President, on your birthday that was given by my learned junior student of law at the University of Nairobi, taking you very seriously on what you said in Kisumu. I want to refer you to the provisions of the Marriage Act. And I'm quite sure First Lady Margaret Kenyatta will be very happy that the law protects this situation. When you have a president committing bigamy, it's the worst thing that you can do. God bless Kenya. God bless you. Happy birthday again. Thank you.
Asanteni sana Mheshimiwa Rais, tumeketi kwa muda na nitaomba kwa ruhusa yako uniruhusu dakika moja peke yake, sote tusimame tunyooshe miili tukiimba wimbo nchi yangu jukumu langu mimi ni... Asante sana. Naomba tuketi na kwa heshima na unyenyekevu, Mheshimiwa Rais, naomba sasa uniruhusu nimwite aliyekuwa waziri mkuu Mheshimiwa Raila Ondinga. Welcome, Right Honorable Sir.
Your Excellency, haya. Your Excellency, Ndugu yangu Rais Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, Wakenya wote ambao wako hapa, hamjambo? Your Excellency, 2 days ago, we lost a very strong, patriotic Kenyan who has done a lot and with whom I had just spoken 3 days ago, 4 days before he died, about the Constitution, and he said he approved. This is Zamba Kitonga. And I think, Your Excellency, it would be amiss if we finish this congregation without remembering Zamba Kitonga. Therefore, I'm asking that in memory of Zamba Kitonga, we observe 1 minute silence. Asanteni. Your Excellency, Zamba Kitonga chaired the committee of experts that delivered this 2010 Constitution. And before he passed away, he actually had a conversation with me and said that this was still work in progress. In 2004, we were in this hall, Your Excellency. I was delegate number 155. Nilikuwa nakaa pale juu. And one day, as the delegates were gathered here, and we were talking about devolution, and one of the delegates, the late Dr. Odhiambo, stood somewhere that side and spoke for about 10 minutes about devolution. By the time he finished, everybody said that gentleman should be the chairman of the devolution committee here. And he was appointed to chair the devolution committee. Unfortunately, he did not live to see it through because he was shot and killed in cold blood. We remember him, but we need, going forward, to have a proper remembrance of Dr. Odhiambo. Your Excellency, that same year, we gathered here as we were in the final stages of completing the document. And a group of delegates here walked away from us and went away because they did not agree with some of the provisions of that Constitution. That was the then cause of, then they went to court and stopped us. Then this Kilifi which came, eventually Kilifi Wako, and that is what created bananas and indices. Bananas and chungwa. But then, Your Excellency, why am I saying this? I'm saying this to just say that it has been a journey. After the 205, came 207 and 208. And that's when we now ended up with Kofi Annan Agenda 4. And that is what then created 2010. So as those who have spoken before have said, 2010 Constitution was a ceasefire Constitution. It was still work in progress. And every country moved through this kind of process. When we had finished here, we had a 3-tier structure of government: the local, the region, and the national. At Naivasha, the region was scrapped. We ended up now with the counties, the 2-tier, the national and the county, Your Excellency. So this is an issue that could be revisited at some other time. But right now we have this. But then, Your Excellency, when we sat together, we agreed that it was time to look at some of the issues ailing our country. Because in spite of having passed this Constitution, which has been hailed all over the world as one of the most democratic constitutions, still we have a problem as a people. So what is it that is missing, that needs to be fixed, so that Kenyans can march on as a people who are proud and who are happy? That was the essence of that conversation that we had. And after we talked, we put up this team together and tasked them to go around the country and collect views of our people. And then they came up with this proposal, which we brought here last year. And from here, we started now a new journey. Validation, as the chairman said. We went first to Kisii for the Nyanza region. And the Bagusi, the Luos, the Koreans spoke in Kisii. Then we went to Ingo, Kakamega. Those people also spoke. We went to Mombasa. We went to Kitui. We went to Narok, to Garissa. Eventually, we went to the mountain, to Meru. But we were unable to go to Nakuru for reasons which have been explained. So this document is as a result of very extensive consultation with the people of Kenya. The proposals which have been made here. But as other people have said, it is still work in progress. We need to be, and you have said it must be inclusive. Everybody needs to be involved. Your Excellency, as the Bible says, Isaiah 1, chapter 18. Come now, let us reason together. Then the Quran says, in Surah 39, Ayah 18, those who listen to all statements and then follow the best of it, these are the ones whom Allah has guided, and these are the ones possessed of minds. So we are saying, come and let us reason together as a people of Kenya. Let us talk together, and let us not talk at each other, but let us talk to each other. Because Kenya is bigger than all of us. And we, with President Uhuru Kenyatta, when we talked, we said we want to bequeath a better society for the coming generation of our country. It is not about making Uhuru Kenyatta a prime minister or Raila Ondinga a president. And Raila Ondinga has never declared, and I want to tell the Standard newspaper, anywhere that he wants to run for presidency in 2022. That is not why we brought this. We brought this because we have seen that there are problems in our country. And these problems must be solved by the people of Kenya themselves. The founding fathers of our nation wanted a united nation. Well, that's why they said that God bless this land of ours. Justice be our shield and defender. May we dwell in unity, peace and liberty. Plenty be found within our borders. That plenty was not going to drop like manna from heaven. It was going to be as a result of the sweat and the toil of our people. So we must give Kenyans opportunity to create that wealth. And this is what we are talking about, empowering the youth so that the youth can be able to create wealth. Wealth must be created by our people. That's when we are going to have plenty within our country. That every child born in our country has equal opportunity to be able to realize his or her potential from the cradle to the grave. That no Kenyan will sleep without food. That each and every Kenyan, when they are sick, will be able to get treatment, irrespective of whether they have money or no money. This is the kind of society that we want to create. an equal society where everybody has an opportunity, not a polarized society, the haves and the have-nots, the low downtrodden and the upper up there. We don't want a proletarian revolution. And proletarian revolutions have never been led by the bourgeois. We want to have an equal society where people work together and people love each other. And that's why we are proposing a new ethos of Utu. 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 Kila moja ni ndugu. Vile Mwalimu Nyerere alifanya kule Tanzania. Watanzania hawaulizi mtu wewe ni kabila gani. Anauliza wewe unatoka jimbo gani. Ukimuuliza Watanzania wewe ni kabila gani, atasema wewe ni Mkenya. Hapa Tanzania hatuulizi kabila. Sisi ni kabila moja, ni Watanzania. Hata Wakenya tuseme sisi zote ni Wakenya. Usiniambie mimi wewe ni Mkisii au wewe ni Mkale au wewe ni Mgiriama au wewe ni Mkikuyu au wewe ni Jango. Sema wewe ni Mkenya. I'm proud to be a Kenyan. I'm proud to be a Kenyan. This is the kind of thing that we want to do. And that's why we created this, me and my brother Uhuru Kenyatta. And we agreed that we will bring this to the people of Kenya. And we want an uncontested referendum. We don't want wengine wanakwenda sisi tunasema la si nini. No, let's bring it here. The disabled have spoken and they have been heard. Wakina mama wameongea na wamesikizwa. Vijana kila mtu ameongea na tutasikizwa. Do we want this to be a unifying process, uniting the people of Kenya? Once that is done, Kenyans will decide who is going to be a leader in 2022. We don't want to talk about 2022 now. We are talking about Kenya of today. The Jubilee government, and the leaders are here, have their 4-point agenda. Wamalize hiyo kwanza. Hapana ambia sisi vile mtafanya 2022. Sasa hivi fanyeni sasa mmalize kwanza. Sisi wako pamoja, wako pair. Wako pair. Wewe umekuwa na bibi, umezaa mtoto, unaona mtoto amekuwa ni kichaa. Sasa wewe unasema hiyo si mtoto yangu. BBI, sema kwa Kenya moja. BBI. 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 Mheshimiwa William Samoei Ruto, ongea na Wakenya.
Mheshimiwa Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya, Mheshimiwa Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, Mheshimiwa Raila Ondinga, Waziri Mkuu wetu wa zamani, waheshimiwa manaibu wa rais wa zamani, Mheshimiwa Kalonzo Musyoka na Mheshimiwa Musalia Mudavadi, Your Excellencies, High Commissioners and Ambassadors, maspika wetu wa bunge la Senate na bunge la kitaifa, viongozi wote, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. First, I want to say that I hope, Mheshimiwa Raila, you are not referring to me as a bourgeois. But I want to agree with you. I want to agree with you that we have a mischievous media sometimes, not all the times. On a day as important as this, when you have a headline saying Raila Ondinga says he's going to run in 2022, they are trying to reduce this occasion to a matter of 2022. But we have all agreed that it is not. But on the same media, the same headline, they have said that William Ruto is coming to meet demons at Bomas. Now, I am asking myself whether there are any demons in Bomas. Or better still, maybe I can ask them, Olisikia wapi, that there are demons in Bomas. But having said that, Your Excellency, this is a very important moment in our history. Important because you have persuaded us that the making of a constitution is always work in progress, and that we must strive progressively to have a negotiated constitutional settlement, or to arrive at a place where we are all working together, building consensus. And I share fully with those sentiments. I know even as we are having this meeting and this launch of this report of the Building Bridges initiative, Your Excellency, you have persuaded us that this is a moment to look at our Constitution and to find progressive amendments to our Constitution. There are those who believe, yes, it's a constitutional moment, but to progressively implement the 2010 Constitution. Civil society and others think so. There are those who believe that maybe this is a moment to discuss the ravages of COVID and the reality of our economic status, especially the majority, 40% odd people of our country who live below the poverty line, and the 16 million or so young people who are unemployed. All this, Your Excellency, as you have said, and as the former Prime Minister has said here, this is a process where we can bring all our views together and listen to one another. And no idea is more superior or less superior to the other. Let me say we have a civic duty, all of us as Kenyans, to engage in this process. We do not have the luxury to say, I don't care. We do not have the luxury to walk away. In any case, it is said that the punishment given to good people who don't participate in the politics and governance of their country, the punishment given to them is to be ruled by fools. I don't think any one of us here wants to be ruled by fools. That's why we must participate in this process. And it's our civic duty to do so. The BBI process has given us a raft of proposals for us to see, to interrogate, to improve. You did tell us, Your Excellency, that we are all free to improve on this process. And the many proposals that have been put, especially that were outlined here by Adam Solo on administrative issues, on legislative issues, I believe that since we have a forum where in Parliament and in government, where we can discuss the policy, the administrative, and the legal issues in Parliament, that can be interrogated in that process. Many of those issues that are administrative and that are legislative are issues mainly to do with our youth, mainly to do with how to do business, how to grow our economy. And Your Excellency, I want to say that these are very important issues. And in any case, I would add that from that list, especially on matters to do with young people, how we can assist them with Higher Education Loans Board and give them a moratorium, how they can start business. It must not be lost on us that the real problem, the real problem is that these young people are jobless. That is the real cause of all this. And that is the discussion we must have. That is the discussion we must have. Having said that, Your Excellency, there are, in my opinion, gaps. The single most important sector that drives our economy, contributing 25% directly to our GDP, and through manufacturing another 24%, and which employs almost 65% of all people in Kenya, is the agricultural sector. I dare say, Your Excellency, that this is an area that, again, we must find a mechanism of having a conversation, especially the farming community, and matters to do with productivity, matters to do with proposals that were made on guaranteed minimum returns for our farmers, our wheat farmers, our sugarcane farmers, our coffee farmers, our tea farmers, our dairy sector, the pastoralist corner. Your Excellency, it is my humble submission that that is an area that we can improve this document on. I have heard many speakers say they have finished reading and we should move on. We are not all at the same level when it comes to reading. Scientists like myself, we take a bit long because we interrogate things and we want experiments and we do many things. So I would plead with the fast learners like Kalonzo Musyoka to bear with us just a bit so that we can all move together. And I agree with Kalonzo Musyoka that we should try and have a non-contested referendum end up there. But, Your Excellency, let me just say 2 or 3 things before I conclude. On the matter of the judiciary, allow me to say there is huge space for us to have an improvement on the proposal that has been made. Access to justice is one of the biggest challenges that we had, and that is why the 2010 Constitution was promulgated. As we talk today, the judiciary, as per the requirements of the law, there should be a high court in every county. As we talk today, there are counties, almost 5 counties, that do not have a high court, and many Kenyans have to travel far to look for justice. As we talk today, though the law provides that there must be a court at least in every sub-county, there are 160 counties that do not have a court at all. And the problem is that the budget for the judiciary, we need to operationalize the judiciary fund that is already in the Constitution, so that the judiciary can establish more courts and the judiciary can hire more judges and more staff so that Kenyans can have access to justice. The recommendation that has been made to have an ombudsman appointed by the executive into the judiciary, in my respectful submission, is a derogation from the independence of the judiciary. And we must be careful. We must be careful about the independence of institutions. We are coming from a history where judges received telephone calls, where courts were held at night. We do not want to go there. On the matter of IEBC, let me say, on the matter of IEBC, the recommendations that I have read say that political parties participate in the appointment of commissioners to IEBC. My brother Raila Ondinga is good at football. So let me try to ask, how fair will be a league where the referee is appointed by teams? And not all the teams, some teams. How fair will this league be? If you persuade me that you will end up with a fair game, fine. That's what I'm saying. So if you tell me it is okay for some players, for some teams, not all the teams participating, to appoint the referee, if that's what we are saying, I have my reservations. And I need to be persuaded, like many other Kenyans, that that is fair. On the third issue, you have heard me, I have heard you. And I think that is good progress. It's good progress. You've heard me, and I have heard you. You think it's fair? I have a different opinion. Maybe we will find a meeting ground somewhere. The third issue, the third issue, Your Excellency, is the independence of our police force. The 2010 Constitution was very clear that the police must act independently of any politicians, whether they are in government or in the opposition. To recommend that we will have a police council chaired by a CS is actually a derogation from the independence of the police. And I want to ask you, we must be careful on where we are going. Today, you may have the latitude to do what you think will be right as per you. Tomorrow, the shoe will be on the other leg. On matters to do with devolution, I agree that the increase to 35% is progressive, and that we must devolve more resources to counties. But accompanying the increase of resources to 35%, we must also ensure that the Senate has the necessary constitutional power to ensure that those resources are available and they are used properly. To recommend that the Senate cannot continue to have the constitutional mandate to discuss the division of revenue is actually a downgrade of the Senate. In my respectful submission, with additional resources and with some members of parliament now being members of the executive because of the appointment of some members of parliament as members of the executive, in fact, the recommendation should not be a downgrade of the Senate, it should be an upgrade of the Senate to the upper house. And in any case, so that I conclude, in any case, we are now saying women and the participation of women in our governance doesn't make us weaker, it makes us stronger. It doesn't make us lesser, it makes us greater. If we are saying in the proposal that women now go to the Senate, and you are saying that when women go to the Senate, they are going to a Senate which has been downgraded, which has no responsibility on matters of resource allocation. Are you enhancing the participation of women, or are you downgrading the participation of women? I mean, we are having a frank and honest conversation, good people, and it's good for us to listen to one another. So if we are saying women who today are sitting in the National Assembly, where resources are being discussed, if we take them from the forum where resources are being discussed and take them to a downgraded Senate, we are making the participation of women nominal. The participation of women should be substantive. In my respectful submission, Your Excellency, I know my brother Bishop Oginde has said there are hustlers here and they should stop the hustling, and there are the reggae people and they should stop the reggae. I don't know about the reggae, maybe I can talk about the hustlers. But let me say the following. The real elephant in this whole conversation is what was identified as the winner take all and the inclusivity question. Now, Professor Adam Solo, I have confessed I'm a scientist and I'm a bit slow. I want you to explain to me in this proposal. You have said that in this proposal, we will have the president with his running mate, deputy president. They will win, or we have candidates, they will win an election, and then the president will appoint the prime minister and the two deputies from the winning coalition. And then we will have the runner-up being the leader of opposition. Now, no problem, it doesn't matter who it is. I have no problem. You know, let us not personalize, there is no problem. Now, the question I am asking myself, have we sorted out the winner take all question? Oh, is that so? So, the president from his side, like for example here, President Uhuru Kenyatta, I am here, Kimunya is the prime minister, because he's the leader of majority. We have Jimmy Angwenyi, who is our deputy as a deputy prime minister, and maybe Maoka Maore as one of the deputies. So what happens to the whole NASA brigade together with Musalia and all these other people? I mean, and I am not saying anything. I'm just saying I want to be persuaded. And forgive me if I am slow. Forgive me. There are so many Kenyans who are in my category. Are we together? Finally, on this inclusivity question, it is my humble submission that as we discuss inclusivity around us, the leaders, we must have a candid, open discussion on inclusivity about the millions of Kenyans locked out by poverty and unemployment. We must discuss how they are going to be part of the Kenyan society. That discussion we must have. And I want to thank the young man, very good, and the bright, intelligent young man from Kitale, because he said that we should not bring 16th century technology. And I am sure he was referring to the wheelbarrow. And possibly he was referring to me and this wheelbarrow. Sindio? Good. Now, the question I want to ask us, how come in the 21st century, a 16th century tool called the wheelbarrow, millions of citizens in the 21st century are still dependent on the wheelbarrow and mokokoteni? That is the discussion we need to have. Yes. That is the discussion we need to have. And that discussion is a discussion that involves millions of Kenyans. Millions of Kenyans. Let me then say, as I conclude, that the Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, I am finishing. You know, I speak for millions of hustlers, so just give me a minute. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, Bishop Oginde said that the hustlers must stop the hustling. I have heard leaders here say that as we discuss this conversation, we must not have an us versus them. I have also heard leaders here say we must never have a conversation and a contest about the poor and the rich. We must never go there. And I believe we must never go there. But I want to remind you, good people, Abraham Lincoln, the 17th President of the United States of America, said, things may come to those who wait, but only things left by those who hustle. That is Abraham Lincoln. He was never talking about the rich and the poor. He was talking about the people who wake up early, the people who sleep late, the people who work hard, and that is the society we need to build. It is now my humble pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to ask His Excellency the President of Kenya to make his remarks, and thank you very much for listening to me. Asanteni sana.
Asante. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Asanteni sana. Asante sana. Fellow leaders gathered at this historic constitutional place of Bomas, and it is historic because many a time, as has been said, we have gathered here to discuss constitutional issues. Mimi nawasalimia nyote na nawashukuru kwanza kwa risala za birthday siku ya leo, na nasema asante.
I'm sure he was referring to the wheelbarrow.
Asanteni sana. Thank you very much. So, thank you very much. So, before I begin, I would like to take this opportunity, as much as indeed they have been recognized, to recognize the Committee of Elders who, for the last 2 years, as we were told, have taken their time and indeed in many instances their resources to travel around this country together with their secretariat and their technical teams to put together first the document that they presented to us here last year, and now this revised version where they have now gone with greater editing to the point of even giving us now proposed clauses for our consideration. And I would like to recognize Senator Yusuf Haji, who was the chair, who is unfortunately not well today. To recognize Professor Adam Zolo, the vice chair. To recognize Senator Amos Wako. To recognize Prince Omusa, to recognize also Mr. James Matundura, to recognize Bishop Lawi Imadio, to recognize also Professor Morpe Ole Ronke, yes. To recognize Rose Museo, to recognize Mrs. Agnes Karindu Mudama, to recognize also Professor Said Mwaguni, to recognize Major John Sei, to recognize also Honorable Maison Leshomo, to recognize Bishop Peter Jenga, recognize Archbishop
To recognize also
Zacchaeus Okoth,
my son,
retired, plus your entire secretariat. I thought it important for Kenyans to know
and finally to
the men and
recognize
women who have
Archbishop
guided us through
Zacchaeus
this
Okoth,
process
retired,
to where we are today. Let me say that
plus your entire secretariat. I thought it important
today we have before us
Kenyans to
a document.
know
A document
the men and women who have
that has been worked on and again,
through
I repeat,
this process
for a period now
where
of
we
2
are
years.
today. Let me say that
And a document whose objective
today we have before us a document,
is really nothing more
a document,
than to
has
find
been
what
worked
ails
on
our
again,
country
I repeat,
and hopefully
for a period now of 2 years.
give us a solution
document whose
that will
objective
heal our country.
is really nothing more. than
I want to
find
also
what
recognize
ails
at
our
this
country
moment
and hopefully
my brother
give us a solution
Raila Ondinga.
that will heal our country.
And I have a reason to,
I want to also
because as
recognize
many of you
at
know,
this moment,
we were
my
competitors
brother
in 2007.
Raila Ondinga,
2017.
and I have a reason to.
And as
Because as
such,
many of you know,
things got to a very
were
difficult
competitors.
level. Indeed, as Bishop Oginde here has said, and as many others will bear witness.
2017.
But when we sat down to speak, something that was very
To a
difficult
very difficult level,
for him, but also for me
Oginde here has said,
and my team. Very difficult.
and as many others will bear witness.
But when we got through to it,
But when we sat down
and
to
we
speak,
spoke and we spoke again and we spoke
something that
again,
was very difficult for him, but also for me. And
we
my-
agreed
very difficult.
that we're not here
But when we got
to share
through to it,
positions, and we should put
and we spoke and
our
we
various
spoke again,
positions
and we
aside.
spoke again.
And we agreed
We agreed
that we were coming together with
we're
one
not here
common agenda,
to share positions. And we
the
should
agenda of
put our
ensuring
various positions aside.
that what
And we
the
agreed
people of Kenya have witnessed in 1992,
that we were coming together
in
with
1997,
one common agenda.
in
The
2005,
agenda of ensuring
in 2007,
that what
in
the people of Kenya
2017,
have witnessed in 1992,
Kenyans shall never, ever witness again.
1997, 2005,
We did not talk about sharing government,
2007,
and as we stand today, he is not in government.
2017,
He is not in government.
Kenyans shall never, ever witness.
He never made any demands for government. He never made any demand for a share of government.
We did not talk about sharing government. And as
He
we
said
stand today,
that let us get
he is
together
not in government.
and let
He
us
is not in
fix
government.
that which ails us,
He never made any demands
that
for
will
government.
allow us
He never made any
in
demands
future to be able to compete without the need for innocent Kenyan blood to be shed. I want to thank you for that, Raila, from the bottom of my heart, because you didn't have to do it. I also want to thank my deputy president, because all in all, along that path, I kept him abreast of what was going on. was part and parcel. It's the truth, I'm not lying. Ask him, he's here. He was part and parcel. In fact, he helped me identify some of the wazays I just mentioned here. Yeah. And the purpose, as I had told him, and as we agreed with Raila, was never to talk about what shall happen tomorrow in terms of our elective posts, but I said it was an extension of what I and you did in 2013. So that we can bring all of us on board and have a situation where no Kenyan is left behind. Okay? No Kenyan. And I said I would use today as a day to say my thanks and to put things also in context. Because I hope and pray that from here we shall focus ourselves on the issue at hand. And the issue at hand is how to ensure unity in our diversity. There are issues, fellow Kenyans, that we consistently shy away from addressing because we don't want to address certain things. We don't want to own up to certain things. But the fact of the matter is that we are a tribal society. We want to get away from it, but that's what we are. And this is what divides us because we pretend we are national leaders. But when the time comes, we switch to vernacular and we become what we are. And these are facts. Tusidanganyane. Na kila mtu anasema ile watu wako namna hii sijui na wale wako hivi na wale wako vile na wale wako hivi. I will also admit today that I've also been part and parcel of that negative politics. Yeah. So I'm not blaming, I'm not saying this because I'm pointing fingers at anybody. I am just saying we have all been part of this mess. We have all been part of it. But we never want to talk about it. We all pretend how great and how national leaders we are. All right? And that is why we must address ourselves to this issue of inclusivity. Because if we are going to remove this kasumba that has disturbed us, we must deal with this issue of inclusivity so that every single community and section of this country feels that they are part and parcel of this great nation. And you know, we started pole addressing ourselves to that issue even in 2010 by bringing on devolution and ensuring now resources were going kule mashinani. But there were still elements that were left. Elements that made people feel that they were left out of national government. So the issue of inclusivity is critical and was critical. And we said with my friend here, we must address ourselves to that issue so that future generations will be able to address themselves as Kenyans. Lakini nyinyi msitudanganye hapa ukabila umejaa. Na ni vizuri, unajua mtu asiposema ukweli, tunaficha kule, but then we never address it. And that's why I'm saying, I want to thank these gentlemen because they are trying to address themselves to those issues. Because until we do, our politics will consistently be negative. And we want to change that cycle so that our politics can be positive driven. Positive that we are winners when we are together. That is the direction that we wish to move ourselves in. The second big problem we have is our young people. Again, let us not cheat ourselves. It is our young people. We have a youth bulge that, if not properly handled, can be a time bomb that can blow this country to pieces. And the handling of that has to be done extremely carefully. Extremely carefully. That is not a problem of this community or that. It affects us all. But how we manage it, we must manage it very carefully. We cannot manage it through inciting them. Right? We must manage it by including them in our decision-making processes. And that is why I said in Kisii during the Mashujaa Day celebrations, if we are to deal with our youth problem, we must deal with our economy. And there is no country in the world that has ever developed on a 5-year cycle of politics. You can never develop on a 5-year cycle. And if you cannot develop your economy, how do you create the jobs? If every cycle you spend 1 whole year, and in this case, in our case, it's 2 years, before the election campaigning, then you spend another 2 years after the election campaign trying to sort out the political mess, umebaki na mwaka moja ya kufanya kazi. Uchumi kweli tutapanua? Wenzangu, vijana kweli tutawapatia kazi? Yeah? Na ndipo niliwaambia juzi wakati tulikuwa tumeenda kuanzisha mradi wa hawa vijana, na nikawaambia, my friends, be very careful. It is very exciting and it is very sweet. But we must stop this culture of use and dispose of our young people, and instead develop and deepen a process, which again I want to thank these gracious men and women, because they have looked into those issues, of how we can systematically and in a very clear and thought out manner enable our young people, who are our future, to be a productive society. And nobody can do that. I can't do it alone. We must be together, and we must engage in that conversation together. Tunaelewana wenzangu? And I strongly believe if we just deal with those two issues, and I know there are many other issues dealing with women, dealing with handicap, and I don't want to get into them. Kwa sababu tumesoma na tumesema tutakuwa na dialogue. Lakini mimi ombi langu kwenu nyinyi ni wakati tunasoma, let us focus ourselves on will guarantee the peace, prosperity of our nation. And let us not entertain the sideshows. Because there are too many sideshows that are detracting country from being that great country that our forefathers. And then those who are seeking elective positions, how wonderful it would be if you were seeking those elective positions in a unified country where it was ideas that are competing against each other, not ethnicity, not this, not this. It was a competition of ideas. How best can we get to where we are going? How best can we achieve for our people, for our children, for our children's children? And I believe here we have something. As I said in Kisii, I believe here we have something that can begin us in that process. And rather than fight over the many things that we will either agree or disagree on, please, on this one, let us agree. Let us agree and fix it.
Nataka mimi kumalizia hapo, lakini niseme, masikia Kalonzo akiongea hapo ya kwamba sijui kuna marriage act. Lakini ile kuniambia kuna ukurasa Biblia ambaye inasema inawezekana. Nataka tukimaliza hapa utanionyesha ni chapter gani hiyo ndio niweze kusoma vizuri. Alafu tutaongea baadaye mamini. Mungu awabariki, Mungu awalinde, asanteni sana.
Tusimame sote sasa kwa wimbo wa taifa. Sorry. Asanteni sana. Sote tusimame wakati Mheshimiwa Rais anaondoka kwa hiari yake. Wimbo kutoka studio. Asante.
Yusuf Haji, who was the chair.